Hello wonderful people, and you're welcome back to Ritnell Couture channel. So on today's tutorial, I'm going to be sharing with us on pattern drafting of a Victoria corset, guys. So if you're interested in learning how to do that, all you need to do is stick around to the end of this video because you'll be learning so much will be loaded here, guys. And if today is your first time dropping by my channel, all you need to do is hit on your subscribe button and make sure you turn on your notification bell so it's notified each time I'll be uploading a new video. So with that being said, let's jump straight into the tutorial. Welcome back. So for every project, the first thing to do is mark up your starting point, and that your starting point is your shoulder point. So with that being said and done, you're going to label that shoulder, and you're going to be inserting your tape just to complete the other measurements. So guys, from that my starting point, I'm going to take my bust measurement. My bust measurement is at 11. My underbust is at 14 and a half. My waist point is at 17. And the length of the top I'll be working with is 23 inches. So guys, do not forget that this is a Victoria corset. So with that being said, I'm just going ahead to rule all those points I just made earlier. I'm just going to go ahead and label all those lines. So that's my butt line, and that's my underbust, that is my waist, and the last is my length of my corset. So with that being done, the next thing I'm going to be doing is taking my shoulder measurement. My shoulder is 16. You divide your 16 inches by 2. So ensure that you always divide your shoulder just by 2. Once you've divided it, you're going to mark whatever thing you have there. So mine is 8 inches. So I haven't gotten my 8 inches. I'm going to take my neck width, so which I took 4 inches. So I haven't done that. I'm just going to come back to where I marked my shoulder point and come down by 1 inch. So that 1 inch I came down with is my slope, guys, like we always do. And you're going to connect that from that your neck width to that your shoulder slope by 1 inch. So once that is done, the next thing you're going to be doing is taking your armhole measurement. So my armhole measurement we usually do is 8 inches. Guys, you know how you get your armhole measurement. So you get your armhole measurement by taking whatever you have on your shoulder, you bring it down. So mine is 8. I'm just going to mark that 8. So I haven't gotten my 8. I'm just going to go ahead to rule my chest line. So my chest line is where that 8 stopped, and that is just going to be my chest line and also the beginning of my armhole cuff. I hope this is clear. So this is labeled chest line. So guys, at this point I didn't know that my camera wasn't filming. Thank God I didn't go so far. So what I did was under my armhole line, I divided it into 4 because it was actually 8. Once I divided into 4, I came in by half an inch, and that was just 8. After I came in by half an inch, I also went to my chest line and I marked in 2 inches, just like you're seeing there. After I marked my 2 inches, I connected that from that half inches to the 2 inches I marked, and also connected that to my shoulder. So that is what I'm tracing for you guys to see clearly. So that is basically it. So the next thing I went ahead to did was just to take my bust span. Your bust span is your nipple to nipple measurement. My nipple to nipple measurement is 8 inches, and I went ahead to divide by 2 because this is basically unfold. So I went ahead and marked those points, and that was just what I did. I went ahead to connect my nipple to nipple measurements. So once that was done, I'm just going to draw another straight line because my chest line is a bit lower than what I would want. So I've just went ahead by 2 inches. I would go ahead to mark and also label it new chest line. So that is basically what I'm drawing at the moment. So that I have my new chest line looking at you. So once that is done, I'm just going to go ahead to connect it back to those lines you have there. That's what we're talking about, guys. Okay, so having done this, the next thing I'm going to be doing is coming in by 1 inch on both sides of the new line I marked. So that is basically what I'm doing. Once I was done marking that, the next place you're going to be doing that is you're coming to your underbust to repeat the same process, marking 1 inch on both sides, and come down to your waist point, mark the same 1 inch, and to the length of your corset you're going to be marking just half an inch on both sides. So once that is done, you're going to connect those lines and those points you made there. So from your bust point, you're just going to connect from the new chest line to your bust point, just like I showed you. So since it's not going to be a straight line but a little bit curvy, I'm just going to use a dotted line because I don't have a curve ruler at this moment. I'm using a free hand. So that is basically it. I've done that already. I'm just going to the other side to repeat the same process. So you're going to repeat the same process from your bust point to your underbust. You're going to be connecting those 1 inch. Just know that it's not a straight line. Don't try using your ruler on that. So if you know how to do that, you're just going to make a curve out of it and not a straight line. So once you've dotted it, you're just going to go ahead and roll it very well using your freehand. So you're basically going to connect those lines just like I'm showing you. From your underbust to your waistline, you're going to connect to the 1 inch on both sides, and also connect to the half inch that is on the length of your top. So what I'm doing right now is mark my lines so they will be very visible enough for us to see clearly. The next thing I'm going to do after doing that is extending my armhole line. So you know, in Victoria corset you can have as many patterns as you want. So I want my front pattern to be 3 patterns, so that is why I'm extending my armhole line. I'm just going to work only on the waistline because you know that snatchy stuff you always want there. So I'm going in by half an inch on both sides on my waistline. That is what we're talking about. So once you've done that already, you're going to come to your front, center front, and mark in half an inch on the waistline as well. Now from that half inch you've marked there, you're going to be connecting it to the length of your corset, and also you connect from the half inch to your new chest line. Coming over to your waistline, coming over to the extension of the armhole line, you're going to be connecting that to the chest line. Before we finish up our pattern, let's complete our measurements. So my bust point is 40 divided by 4. By 4 is 10 inches. And you also put back those 1 inches you removed and you mark it there. Then coming to my underbust, you repeat the same process. Get your underbust measurement, put back those 1 inches you removed and mark whatever you have there. So on your waistline, you're also gonna repeat the same process. 32 divided by 4 will give you 8. You put back the 1 inches there, and coming over to the length of your corset, I'm going to put my hip measurement there, which is 10. You put back the half inches you removed, and once you're done that, you're also going to add extra half inches to all those measurements, and you're going to close up. Once I was done connecting, I'm coming over to the new line I made on my armhole line. That's the new extension I made there. I'm basically going to connect it to my chest line. So what I removed was just half inches on both sides on my waistline. So having done that, I'm also going to extend it to the length of my corset. Once I have finished that, I'm just going to create a shape, a curvy shape on the length of my waistline by going up by 1.5 inches. This is optional, but if you wouldn't want to have a choppy edge on your corset, you can as well go do the same thing. So that is it. The next thing to do is finish up your neckline. What I'm going in with is a sweetheart neck. So I'm going to measure to the depth of where I want my sweetness to fall in. So I picked 8 inches. I'm just going to shapen it a little bit and finish up this by connecting this to my chest line. So once that is done, I'm going to label it, because once you cut off, you're going to get confused. Your center front, your side front. So you label 1, 2, 3, so you know which one is which when you cut off. So let's cut off. So before that, I'm just going to trace my neckline, but I won't cut it off because I won't be needing it for the project. So what I did was just trace it, and I'll be cutting off what I would want. You can set aside your yoke once you're done doing that, because I won't be using my yoke for this project, but I added it for the basis for understanding. So let's cut. Girl, don't flex with the boy, your body is a mountain. She wanna roll with the man them. When I drop, you know it's an anthem. Oof. Girl, you wanna play with a big playboy like me. Oof. Girl, you wanna play with a big playboy like me. Girl, don't flex with the boy, your body is a mountain. She wanna roll with the man them. When I drop, you know it's an anthem. Girl, you wanna play with a big playboy like me. Girl, you wanna play with a big playboy like me. Pull up in the club with all my G's. When we outside, it's an all 19. Yeah, them start to shake when they call my name. Don't play with the ball like me. Who you else know live a life like this? So this is what we'll have for the front pattern. With a guy like this, I like shy, you know, like Ghana. More than a sea for my Ghana. Give me some more. Now for the back pattern, this is what I'll be using to cut out that. So don't be so bothered about the tape in between, because it's just a join in there. I've gone ahead to mark my shoulder point, and that's my starting point as well. I'm going ahead to go ahead and mark my waist point and also the length of my corset, which we did previously. You're going to do what next? Roll those lines. So once I was done rolling those lines, you're going to do what next? Label those lines. So the next thing to do is get your shoulder, which is on 8, and also mark your neckline, which is at 4. So once that is done, you're going to go in by 1 inch depth for your shoulder slope, and you're going to connect that to your neckline. So the next thing to do what is mark your armhole point, which is at 8, and from that 8 you've gotten your chest line. You're going to roll that. Having rolled that, you label. Go ahead to connect your shoulder, your armhole line, and once you've connected, you're going to get the midpoint of your armhole and mark it there. Mine is 4. Now once you've done that, you're going to go in by 2 inches like I did there. Now for the back piece, there's no point going in by half an inch on the 4 line. You're just going to go ahead and collect like I just did. I hope this is clear. So I've gone ahead to make my marks very visible. And I labeled as well yoke. Now for the depth of your back, you can choose what you want for yourself depending on how high or low you want your back to be. Now remember, on the front side we took 2 inches upwards from the chest line, and for my back points we're going to go up by 1.5 inches because that is how I want mine. If you want, you can go up by half inches. That is totally dependent on you. So what I'm doing next is marking my bust pan like we did for the front pattern. So mind you, this 4 inches is just a guide. It's going to serve us as a guide to finish up our markings because we're not going to be imputing any bustier shape to this back. So you're going to mark your bust pan. Once that is done, you're going to come to your waistline to mark in half inch on both sides of the line you made, and you're going to be connecting that to your chest line just like you're saying. Now you've connected, you're also going to be connecting that to the length of your corset pattern. Now this is what we'll have. So for this back, I don't want to have so much pieces for my back so that I won't be extending my armhole line down. So my back is just going to be 2 pieces. So having done this, I'm going to be taking my measurement first. So for my bust point, I'm going to be going in by 10 inches because that is 40 divided by 4 will give me 10. Once I've marked my 10, I'm going to go down to my waist point and mark my 8 like I did. So I'm going to add back this 1 inch I removed here to that mark, and I'll mark it there. Then on the length, I told you that I used my hip measurement, which is 40 as well, and I'll mark my 40 inches there. So that is it. So once you've done, you're going to make all your connections. Don't be bothered about sewing allowance because you'll be adding your allowances on your fabric. But if you choose to add allowance on this pattern, that is totally depends on you. So once you've made your connection, we're coming to the front back. So don't forget to label like I told you. On the front back, what you're going to be doing for me is going in by half an inch on the waistline. Guys, note that I didn't add any zipper allowance to this project, but if you want to add zip to your own corset, you can add zipper allowance on your fabric. So with that being said, I'm coming down to my waist to go in by half an inch. So that is me marking my half an inch there. Once you've marked your half an inch, you're going to be connecting that to your chest line, just like we did for the front pattern, and also connect it to your length of your pattern as well. So this is basically what I have for my back. Just know that those points I'm marking are going off. Won't be needing it. Can you tell me what's remaining for this project to come to an end? You're going to mark your lines. So for your back line, okay, you can go ahead and shaping it to your desired choice. That is up to you. Use your ruler, your freehand, but make sure when you're cutting, you cut to perfection. Just try as much as possible to cut to perfection. So that is basically it. So we're going to cut. And I know you in love with me, but please don't say that. Done that, Godfather, none but that. Nonchalance, but that, all of that. Big nobody do my part. I also came down by 1.5 inches just to remove my sharpie edge. Anything goes, even though my friends and my enemies know. There's never been a time when my energy low. Girl, don't flex with the boy, your body is a mountain. She wanna roll with the man then. And voila, our back pattern is ready. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comment section what you think about this video. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye for now.